Biafra, superstars, media.
Good evening, depending once again on where you're hearing my voice from. This is the Biafran Golden Child, and always happy when I have the opportunity to interact with my people. Yes, I hope you're all doing good. I hope life is treating you fairly. Yes, I know living in this dungeon called Nigeria could be like, you know, could be described like an endangered species, an animal considered an endangered species. If care is not taken, you could be easily wiped out of, you know, out of existence. Yes, that's what Nigerians have continued to experience. Nigerians have become an endangered species because of a government that whose policies and whose administration has nothing to offer its people. I mean, a government that is characterized by hooliganism, corruption, malpractices, nepotism, tribalism, and the highest level of deceit and economic mismanagement. Yes, because the World Bank recently described Nigeria as the poorest country in the world. I mean, Nigerians have overtaken Bangladesh and some of these other, you know, uh, uh, very poor countries that have continually, you know, refused to grow, especially because of the activities of mercenaries like, you know, the Taliban's and co. But in recent times, World Bank has said Nigeria's have assumed the position of, you know, one of the poorest countries with the highest level of insecurity, with a crass and clueless government, and that except something is done, Nigerians would soon become endangered species. I mean, when your currency is almost totally useless, when your currency has failed, you know, to regain its luster, regain its power, regain its control in any economic indices. It shows that your currency, your country, your leadership is inept and totally lacking in capability and capacity, to bring reforms, to bring much needed growth and development. So, fortunately, when you see a Nigerian now, you have to greet him well because seriously, you don't know what is going through his brain. Every Nigerian, a lot of Nigerians are living in the highest level of poverty and penury. I mean, people cannot feed, people cannot get accessible drinkable water, people cannot have light in their homes. These are things that the advanced worlds have taken for granted. The advanced worlds have provided for their citizens way beyond over five decades, maybe let's say 5 centuries ago. Nigerians are now living in the dark ages, uh, where, according to a lot of, philosophers and psychologists and politicians, Nigerians have become a dead zone. Nigeria has become a shithole. Nigeria has become the most fantastically corrupt country in the world. So it's a very sad one when you see a Nigerian and you're looking at poverty staring you in the face. You see a Nigerian, you're looking at lack and gloom personified. It's a sad one. This is a country that was once touted as the giant of Africa. It's a very sad one. Very, very shameful indeed. I mean, when you have a crop of administrators or leadership that came on the threshold of claims, mm, boisterous claims, you know, vigorous claims that it is my turn. It is my turn to rule. It is my turn. Emilokon, yes, I have come, and whether you like it or not, it is my turn. I'm going to be there. way before the election started, way before the uh, electionary umpires declared it open. This man has said, "It is my turn. I know I'm going to get it. I've paid my dues. I've uh, erected political, structures here and there. I've empowered those who were before me. There's no failing this time. It is my turn." And when you hear such bombastic claims, and you now see what is happening, you begin to ask yourself, I mean, what did this man mean when it was his turn? Was he speaking equivocally? Was he, by any means, speaking a language under influences of any type? I mean, why would somebody say it's my turn? I'm going to hit the ground running. And what he has foisted on his people is crass mismanagement, hardship, difficulties, and a life expectancy of below even 10 years. Yes, one research claimed that Nigerians' life expectancy now is below 10 years. So if you get up to child who get up to 10 years, wow, you are from this kind of data, from this kind of polls, from this kind of analysis, you are living an old age. You have matured in Nigeria. Life expectancy of 10 years. But of course, you cannot, assure yourself of 3 square meals. You cannot be sure of jobs. You cannot be sure of housing. Government has nothing to do about electrical power tariffs and all that. The fuel that you have in your country in abundance, that is daily being drilled in your country, in your geographical land, still cannot guarantee you access to fuel, to PMS, to gas, cooking gas at affordable rates. And their expectancy has risen below. Life expectancy is now below even 10 years. Yes. This morning I want to bring to our notice a recent you know, development that, has happened in the Nigerian judiciary. Yes, I'm interested in this one because it comes, it concerns our maximum leader, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. You know, yes, especially it addresses, it brings some kind of succor and relief to most of us who have, continually been dismayed at the dismal activities, dismal practices of the Nigerian judiciary, especially towards our maximum leaders' continuous detention in the DSS dungeon, experiencing all kinds of terrible life situations, all kinds of, man-created wickedness, all kinds of, insecurities, threats to life, and all kinds of indignitaries because of his, unalloyed support, for IPOB and for Biafra. And so I want to talk briefly about breaking news coming from the court in Nigeria, so that we can be very well apprised and aware of what is happening, because ignorance is never an excuse. We should all embrace every opportunity, to know what is happening, what are the latest developments, so that we can, at any point in time, give our voice with a lot of meaning, a lot of intelligence, and a good evaluative, conclusions. Yes. So, just a few, let me say, within the past 24 hours, yes, there was a breaking news. A breaking news, where we saw, we saw the breaking news where a court issues notice against the DSS director. You know, court issues notice against DSS director, threatens to jail him for denying Nnamdi Kanu access to his lawyers. So I think that is a what is a what one news is worth celebrating. I mean, even in the dungeon called Nigeria, I think there's an extent you get, that you have to call a spade a spade. I mean, even though elastic is elastic, but there's a limit to elasticity. Everybody knows that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has, for no fault of his, except for the wickedness of, mind of, deceivers, of envious people, or people who pretend not to know the plight of the Biafrans and the Igbo man in Biafra land. Mazi is a man of peace, a man who rather than choose violent protest, has always been like Martin Luther King, a man who is interested strictly in peaceful dialogue. And so it really it angers my heart when we continue to see him, being paraded in hand chains, being paraded in handcuffs, taken from one court to the other under the auspices of the DSS. I mean, who call him felonious man, who call him dissident, who call him and all kinds of negative names, militants, who call him everything negative, just to continue to keep him in their dungeon. You know what they say, give a dog a bad name in order to maim it. When they don't know what to do about him, every other day they are creating, they're orchestrating new charges, new leveling new crimes against him. But to God be the glory, it was always failed to stand the test of truth and to stand the test of time. So everything they've been doing to Nnamdi Kanu to justify keeping him in such a dismal, this such a horrendous, uh, despicable conditions have been done, but they have used the judiciary, they have used the courts at their, as if it's as their beck and call to orchestrate this wickedness against our maximum leader. So it's a good one, a breaking news coming when we'll hear that the court has issued a notice against the DSS director and threatens to jail him for denying Nnamdi Kanu access to his lawyers. So I think if you are not aware of this, I think it's good you know about it. Let us know what is happening to our maximum leader, because it's coming at the heels of this declaration on 2nd December 2024, when our able and sagacious Prime Minister Simon Ekpa, you know, would would completely and happily declare the United States of Biafra to the whole world. So I think it's important we know this and we see where the whole thing is leading to. I'm mighty, mighty glad to announce to all of us that for the first time, yes, the court has issued a notice against the DSS director, threatening him threatening to keep him in jail if he continues to deny Nnamdi Kanu access to his lawyers. I mean, a man is always, termed, deemed to be innocent, except proven otherwise through due law court procedural, you know, uh, procedural activities and procedural programs, But here now we see the Nigerian government, oftentimes, especially through the DSS, making abundant claims. This man, if you release him, is going to cause more havoc. This man is causing more havoc even when he's detained. If you bring him out, it's going to be a complete mayhem in Nigeria. I mean, this man is right from the jail, orchestrating wicked activities, making the Southeast totally ungovernable, empowering a dissident in Finland by the name of Simon Ekpa, who is running a parallel government in exile. I mean, the DSS, the Nigerian government, have cooked all kind of stories that will make them continue to hold him, that will mitigate any opportunities for his release. But we are highly flabbergasted this morning. I'm elated. I'm happy to hear that the court, has issued such a very powerful and you know uh, highly important directive and warning to and notice again to the DSS director, stop forthwith from allowing this man to have access to his lawyers and know what is happening outside the country and within the country. So I think it's a good one, a right step in the right direction. You know. So in case you don't know much about this, the court in the notice dated October 18th, 2024, and signed by its registrar, threatening that the DSS boss will be committed to prison if he continued to disobey court orders by denying the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, access to his lawyers. On last Friday, the Federal High Court in Abuja issued a notice of consequences against Adola Oluwatosin Ajayi, the Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, for contempt of court. The court, in the notice dated October 18th, 2024, signed by its registrar, threatened that the DSS boss will be committed to prison if he continued to disobey court orders by denying the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, from having access to his lawyers. The notice read, yes, quote, take notice that unless you obey the directions contained in this order, by allowing the applicant's counsel to conduct the court-ordered visitations with the applicant on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you will be guilty of contempt of court and will be liable to be committed in prison. Confirming the development, Kanu's special counsel, Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, said that the notice by the court was necessitated by the DSS repeated disobedience of the court-ordered 3 days in a week visitation by Kanu by his lawyers. Confirming the development once again, Kanu's special counsel, Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, said that the notice by the court was necessitated by DSS repeated disobediences of the court-ordered 3 days in a week visitation. Ejimakor said this notice is necessitated by the repeated disobedience of the court-ordered visitation of Mazi Kanu by the newly appointed Director General of the State Security Services, Mr. Dola Oluwatosin Ajayi, who has, for almost a month, not allowed Mazi Kanu's lawyers to visit him. To be clear, according to Aloy Ejimakor, Pastor Aloy Ejimakor, to be clear, this notice is a quasi-criminal judicial process that for once any person disobeying a court order will be penal consequences of such misconduct. Therefore, according to our able, astute, venerated lawyer, Mazi Barrister Aloy Ejimakor, said, therefore, if the Director General of the DSS persists on this ignoble path, he will leave us with no other option than to commence vigorous contempt proceedings against him. Ladies and gentlemen, recall that Justice Binta Nyako had, in a judgment delivered on May 20th, 2024, issued an order varying the condition of visitation to Kanu in the DSS custody to 3 days a week. The court ordered that he is to be given a safe and clean room to be made available to the defendant at the present facility to prepare for his defense with his team of counsel, not exceeding 5 in number. Yes, for the judge further warned that they should be allowed such facility that is required for the preparation of his defense and be allowed to take notes. However, Kanu's legal team has on several occasions raised an alarm that DSS moved from, secretly recording their conversations with Kanu to completely denying them access to Kanu, hence making it impossible for them to prepare Kanu for his defense. So, my fellow freedom lovers, you can imagine what this dungeon called country, this country that was once described by the late Chinua Achebe as there was a country, as a country that has completely disintegrated itself and has become a nightmare to its citizens. You can imagine where a man who is detained for no cause of his own, for legitimately, asking for a reprieve for his people, for a man who said, look, enough is enough. Grant my people access to law and order. Grant my people security of life and property. Grant my people every opportunity to do their business. But they are mercantile people. They are into imports and exports. Bring the seaports closer to them. Bring the airports closer to them, and make everything workable for them to achieve their lifelong pursuit of business, of success, of well-being, and of growth and development. Kanu has said, please, the Igbo man has suffered. If after the events of the Civil War, 1967 to 70, you said there was no victor, no vanquished, you told him back to come, that you are rehabilitating him, you are going to bring in reconstructions and all that. And now you are still treating him like a defeated nation, like people who are weaklings, like people who are giving, no opportunity to aspire to the highest positions of the land because they are regarded as second-class citizens. Mazi said, enough is enough. The plight of my Igbo brothers, the plight of the Biafrans their cries have reached high heaven. The injustice here, has reached its peak. He reminded everybody that Dr. Martin Luther King, American, crusader for peace, American crusader for peace, and uh, 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 all every and against racist conducts in America or misconducts in America, said at one point that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, no, the events of 1966, 67, 68, 69, 70 has not changed because our people are still brutally marginalized. They are still being attacked. They are threatened. They are killed. I mean, Mazi complained of, the enormous numbers of securities checkpoints in Biafra land. I mean, between just 5 minutes drive, you run into one security. The next 5 minutes, you are running into another one. And these securities are men who are heavily armed, people from the northern region. You can see their marks on their face. The Ibira mark, the Sokoto marks. These are people carrying all kinds of weapons, dangerous weapons, armed to the teeth. Soldiers, navies, joint patrols, police. What are they doing in the east? Every time making the east ungovernable, making our people live like people who are in a cage, like cage birds. And Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, no, this isn't right. If we are talking about democracy, if we are talking about peace, we are talking of regional peace, we are talking of good governance, then of course, these people should be allowed to move freely. Movement of the people, free movement is enshrined in every constitution in the world, is enshrined even in the world United Nations charters, that a man should move freely without molestations, without intimidations, without subjugation, without a threat to his life. When you see 7, 8 armed security personnel stop a man in his car, I mean, each of them toting a gun, some of them carrying daggers, knives, sharp knives, pen knives, some of them carrying all sorts of weapons of intimidation, weapons of mass destruction, and you're asking a man, who are you? Where are you going to? Who owns this car? Why are you here? This is a man in his locality, a man in his own house, a man in his geographical place of birth, and you're asking him, who are you? How did you get this car? How did you go? Who are you going to meet? I mean, people are expecting you. I mean, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, no, enough of this intimidation, enough of this wickedness. If you don't want these people, then let them go. If you continue to suspect these people, let them go. If you feel they cannot offer you anything, let them go and manage their resources themselves, manage their lives themselves. I mean, manage their geographical region themselves. You cannot pretend to live in peace. If you pretended peace, a peace that is not, accessible to the citizens, I mean, you can't bob a man's head without his presence, without his approval. How can you say you're living in peace and you're subjecting these people to daily patrol of all kinds of wicked and stand-looking and biased security operatives? So such a piece is a piece of the graveyard. Yes, it's a piece of the graveyard. And when Mandela Nnamdi Kanu was enunciating these things, telling the Nigerian government, it's about time we call this spade a spade. Let's remember the Aburi Accord. Let's remember that at one point, these people said, look, let us go. If you want us to continue, we are giving you terms. We are giving you templates. You want us to remain in Nigeria? Yes, we'll come, but you let us be free. You give us what we want. You allow us to do our businesses of import, of export freely. You allow us aspire, go to universities, get the relevant qualifications, aspire for any positions in the country. You don't subjugate us to a second fiddle. You don't continue to make things difficult for us and our children and our generation. We want building plans. You tell us because we are Igbos. You tell us because we are Biafrans. It's going to take a Herculean tax. We pay from our nose. We pay far ahead of any other region. You want to get a C of O for a property you bought. As the Biafran, once they see your name, is Okeke, is Chukwudi, is Chukuma, is Ogonnaya, everybody will assume they will make sure that C of O does not come out, except you cough and pay, and sometimes you use intermediaries, you front people, you get it by proxy. You settle one Alaji, you settle one Emiloko brother, you know, before you get your C of O. And then Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said, look, all these injustices, very glaring, very flagrant. are enough to kill any person. We don't want this. If you don't want us, let us go peacefully. Let us go to our home. Let us go and develop our place. If we cannot get the CFO here, let us get it in our own region. And they arrested him. They extradited him from Kenya. Even before then, they made every attempt to abduct him. When they failed, they killed his mother, they killed his father, they killed several people, even in his hometown in the village, in his home in the village. I mean, it's so painful, that this so-called dungeon malpractices didn't start today. They have subjected our maximum ruler to all kinds of indignitaries, messing him up, sometimes frustrating him, dragging him like a common criminal. A man of peace, a man of non-violence, a man who preaches progress, a man who says it's enough. Let's reason together. Let's dialogue. If you're not ready to dialogue, then let us go. And so it has continued all these years, back to back, now getting to close to 5 years. They have subjected this man to all kinds of infamy and wickedness in the hands of the DSS, in their dungeon. Now, even when they allowed his lawyers to visit him, at one point, they made sure all kinds of electronic devices, communication devices were put in place to monitor what was being discussed, get a preview into what his plans are for the next court season. And every time before the lawyers get to court, they are surprised that their discussions, their bargainings and their submissions and all kinds of legal dynamics are already exposed to, the DSS, Dungeon, DSS operatives and their lawyers. So it became a very, very difficult thing for them, because how can you guarantee justice? How can you guarantee equity and fairness under this kind of barbaric, wicked, Gestapo-like conditions in the DSS? And so even when a judge, listened to them and said, "Listen, I want this man to be given a clean room, because all the rooms he's staying with here is all messed up. Everywhere is stinking. Everywhere is messed up. This is a man who has committed no crime. He has not murdered any person. He has not killed anybody. He has not stolen the billions and trillions they are stealing. And you are putting him such a wretched, in such an infamous cell, under such hardship, under such stringent conditions." The judge said, "No, give him a clean place where you can have at least 5 lawyers meet him, and they should be able to take notes without infractions, and there should be of course, no spy techniques, no spy cameras, hidden cameras, or voice audio equipment, listening equipment. Let them have their privacy. You want to hear them, you hear them in the court." This was said, and yet DSS did not allow this. Of course, they ignored the judge. The judge, insisted. The judge ruling. Yes, when Justice Bintan Yaki, delivered that judgment on May 20, 2024, they never took, any exceptional notice of that law. Unfortunately, the woman herself did not insist, and that was why our maximum ruler, a few weeks ago, said, "Look, I'm not comfortable with this woman anymore. I'm not comfortable with the character of this judge, the personality of this judge, and the nuances of this judge, because it's as if there's a deliberate ploy through her and the rest of them to continue to subject him to this kind of terribly living conditions." And to God be the glory. I think I said in one of my audios here, as if God was on our side, as always. The lady herself voluntarily, resigned from being the judge of over the Nnamdi Kanu debacle. She said, "No, since the man has said he doesn't have confidence in me, he doesn't think he'll get justice from me, it will be foolishness of me, foolhardy of me to continue to, be a judge over his case. I step aside. I walk away." We celebrated this. We were so happy because we felt for the first time justice will be seen to be done. And yes, I think at this point I will tell our people, yes, gradually the justice is coming, because this notice given to the DSS director and his operatives to immediately desist from intimidating, from harassing, and from doing all this kind of wicked practices to Nnamdi Kanu, that it should stop. I'm happy about that. Now with the DSS, the court giving this immediate warning. This warning now, I think DSS will know it won't be business as usual. Right now, it's not going to be business as usual anymore, because now, for the first time, our maximum ruler will have access to his lawyers, at least 5 hours, 5 lawyers at a time. They should be able to take notes, and at least now we now know that the 3 days, official 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, meeting will take place. At least if for anything is going to assuage, the heart of our maximum leader, who was kept in silence, in solitude, and he felt so heartbroken because he didn't know what was happening out in the outside world. With this opportunity of communication now with his counsel, led by none and only Aloy Ejimakor, a veteran lawyer, human rights activist, and a very vocal and highly vivacious lawyer. Aloy Ejimakor, I'm proud of you. We Biafrans are proud of you. Keep up the good work. Lead your counsel well. Give our maximum leader good advice. Lead him well, and produce him to the court as when due, and please do everything possible. Do everything possible to highlight his innocence. Yes, his innocence of all the so-called cooked up charges against him. Yes, we are very proud of you again, because in recent times, sometimes about 2 weeks ago, this same barrister Aloy Ejimakor rose up when the Ohanes Ndigbo and their like were, pleading that pardon should be given, political pardon should be given to our maximum ruler, Nnamdi Kanu, blah, 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 that they were begging the president to give him pardon, as he has given to others. But Aloy Ejimakor came out, the veteran lawyer came out and said, look, you give pardon only to somebody who is convicted. You give a national pardon to a felon. You give a national pardon to a seditious element, or somebody who, has been found guilty of one heinous crime or the other against the state. But hey, gentlemen, Ndiwai, honest Ndibo, thanks but no thanks. Please note, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has not been convicted of any crime. He has not been convicted of felony. Everything that he has been charged, he has been discharged and acquitted on it. He's just been held because of, deliberate policy of this Johnson government, who have refused to obey court orders. So rather than tell the so-called Jagaban, the so-called ruler of the junta, Tonjon, to give a Muslim ruler, my client, a judicial pardon. Tell him to release him outrightly, because he's not guilty as charged. He's a free man. Don't ask for pardon for a person who is free. He's a man of peace. And he has said, as far as he's concerned, Biafra is in his blood. Biafra is in his DNA. He would think Biafra. He would eat Biafra. He will hear Biafra, and he will bleed Biafra. He will talk the talk, and he will walk the talk. So, Lawyer Ejimakor, I'm really mighty, mighty proud of you. You're doing well. And I pray that the other councils who are also going to be, at the behest of our maximum leader, to make sure he comes out from this DSS dungeon, to make sure he's guaranteed his immediate discharge and acquittal, so that he can move on with his life, move on with his philosophy of life, meet his people, meet his family, and above all, continue to superintend the activities of a peaceful, non-violent protest, which the Biafra agitation is all about. Yes, thank you so much, Aloy Ejimakor, barrister. May God bless you. Give you the wisdom, give you the good health, give you the charisma, and all that you need, the wherewithal to get our maximum leader fully, acquitted from and discharged from the DSS dungeon. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm mighty glad to have made your, to interact with you, to have brought some of these things to our purview, to your awareness, so that when you hear about these things, you can confidently, confidently at any point in time, analyze it, explain to people, let them know what is happening around our Biafra movement, let them know why our Azman ruler has not been released, of this, why it has been a case of a consistent and constant and consistent deliberate policy of not listening to judges and keeping to judgments. So this one, now that the court has issued notice, against DSS director, threatens to jail him if he does not, make uh, Maz's comfort a priority and guarantee him his basic rights and freedom, access to his lawyers, then, he will be in trouble. He's a good one. He's a good one. So, my dear people of Biafra, I think we should thank God that we have people like Mr. Aloy Ejimakor. Yeah, we have people who are interested, and other councils who are interested in the welfare and well-being of our Muslim leader, Nnamdi Kanu. Yeah. So once again, before I go, let me just make a quick appeal to our people to remember that the 2nd December 2024 deadline is almost at hand. Gentlemen, we should rise up. We should, rise from slumber. We should rise up, take our, take the bull by the horns, and support every, in every capacity, in every capability, all the efforts of our highly esteemed, Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. It's an adult tax. It's a Herculean tax. It's not going to be an easy one, but he has told us if he's putting everything he has into it. I mean, he's putting everything. A man who just last week resigned from a vigorous political career, successful career, in Finland, just to concentrate on, the 2nd December 2024 mandate. I mean, it's not a child's play. We should salute his courage. We should encourage him. We should motivate him. Yes, this is not an easy thing. A man who has sacrificed his comfort, sacrifice just like our Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, who is suffering all kinds of debilitating conditions at the DSS dungeon, that has eroded his good health, that has even impaired his, sight at some stage, and that has created enormous hardship for him. Our own dearly beloved Prime Minister Simon Njoko has also sacrificed because of Biafra. Sacrificed because he wants his people to be free. Sacrificed because he knows that if Biafra and the United States of Biafra is fully legitimized, is fully, granted his autonomy, sovereignty and autonomy, that the life of the average Biafran would be so mighty beautiful, 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 comfortable, peaceful, and a good level ground for self and social development. We should all rally around him. We should be with him. We should pray with him. These are trying times. Every effort is being made, either by hook or crook, by the dungeon, by this country, where we still are forced to remain. Every day are doing all kinds of activities, promoting, sponsoring other regions, all kinds of networking to make sure they frustrate the December 2nd, 2024 project. All can recall recently how from nowhere the Yoruba people came out and said they were taking a letter to turn down the street, to give to British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, demanding a Yoruba liberation, Yoruba regional self-governance. I mean, you can imagine how clownish that was. People who have been enjoying, the laurels of power, people who have been enjoying all kinds of, goodies from this government, from this country, back to back for the past 64 years. I mean, they are just trying to mimic. They wanted to make a mockery of Biafra by, jumping the gun, going there and make our legitimate, peaceful, struggle, a child's play. Thank God the British Prime Minister, in less than few days, came up and said, gentlemen, I can't understand what this letter is all about. wrote me this letter. I mean, am I in a drama session? Gentlemen, if you know what to do, if you want to protest, you go to your country and protest. You go back to your region. Go to your president. Your man is at the helm of affairs. Why are you bugging us in Britain? Did we tell you we don't have our own problems? Please, gentlemen, leave me alone. And they tore the letter in the full glare of the camera, tore those letters to threats and threw them into the trash can. Now, the Yoruba, the Hausa people also came up on their own with their Professor Luga suggesting that, look, the Igbos are about to move. The Igbos, the Biafra people are serious. If we don't prepare for their movement, we will suffer. We too should sit up. We should think about our own general movement. I mean, why are everybody now, all of a sudden, I in the Igbo man? You don't want him in your country. He wants to leave. You want to now move. You want to move with him to Biafra land? It's that's a very, very ironical statement. But all this, my dear brothers, all this, my fellow Biafrans, are attempts to befuddle, to deceive, and to confuse the Biafrans. Let us not look at them. Let's our eyes be fixed on the goal. 2nd December 2024, when the United States of Biafra will fully inaugurated. God bless you all. Have a great Sunday ahead. Thank you and God bless. Bye-bye.
If you say Nnamdi Kanu, make you tell am say oh, we dey go Biafra oh, we go meet am for there oh. If you say Nnamdi Kanu, make you tell am say oh, we dey go Biafra oh, we go meet am for there oh. If you say Nnamdi Kanu, make you tell am say oh, we dey go Biafra oh, we go meet am for there oh. Aloy Ejimakor, Aloy Ejimakor, Aloy Ejimakor, Aloy Ejimakor. When you see Nnamdi Kanu, make you tell am say oh, we dey go for Biafra oh, we go meet am for there oh. When you see Nnamdi Kanu, make you tell am say oh, we dey go for Biafra oh, we go meet am for there oh. Na Simon Ekpa be the man. Na Simon Ekpa dey do am o, ọba tó bíé, ọba tó bíé.